Divus Julius was not a secondary god, but was made equivalent to the highest god Jupiter, and became the god of the whole Roman Empire. Victor of all civil wars, he was feared and celebrated like no one before him. Therefore, all kinds of exaggerated honors were created and bestowed upon him, even superhuman ones. Offerings, celebrations, sacrifices, and statues in all temples and public places in each of the provinces, for every community, and for all the kings allied with Rome. The inscriptions of the statues were various. On some of them he wore an oak wreath as the savior of the native country, because, according to an old custom, those who had been saved used to decorate whoever was responsible for their salvation with it. He was proclaimed father of the country and elected dictator for life, as well as consul for 10 years. His person was pronounced sacred and inviolable, and it was decreed that he could dispatch his official functions from a throne of ivory and gold. Furthermore, he always should offer sacrifices in the triumphal robe. The city annually had to celebrate the days of his victories. Priests and priestesses had to offer public prayers for him every 5 years, and the administrator had to swear an oath immediately after being appointed not to resist any command of Caesar. To honor his birth, the month Quintilis was renamed Julius, July. Furthermore, numerous temples were to be built to him as a god. So much was he feared as ruler, and so strongly was he beseeched to bestow his mildness and grace upon them. There were even some who wanted to proclaim him king, until he learnt of it and forbade it under dire threat, as the very idea was despised by their ancestors as a sacrilege. He dismissed his praetorian bodyguard, who had served him since their war days, and appeared in public alone with the usual servants. He also pardoned his enemies and promoted many of those who had borne arms against him. These honors, which were decreed during his lifetime, began to be enacted more or less straight away, but came into full effect after his death, specifically when the members of the triumvirate conclusively defeated the assassins of Caesar. All the honors not only retained their spirit, but became something more. The violence that was done to him, and the refusal of the people to accept his murder, served to guarantee his honor, title, and cult forever.
It was perhaps the most famous comet of antiquity. Caesar's comet appeared in the sky over 2,000 years ago. It was during the Ludi Victoriae Caesaris, also known as the funeral games for Julius Caesar, in 44 BC. The 7-day visitation of the comet was taken by Romans as a sign of the deification or apotheosis of the recently deceased Julius Caesar. It was perhaps the most famous comet of antiquity, comet became a powerful symbol in the political propaganda, including Roman coinage. That launched the career of Caesar's great-nephew, by marriage, Augustus Octavian. Throughout antiquity, rulers from pharaohs to kings have always tried to associate themselves with divinity to assert their right to reign supreme. And the appearance of this comet gave Augustus a perfect opportunity to follow suit, and he built the Temple of Divus Julius, Temple of the deified Julius in 42 BC, for purposes of fostering a cult of the comet. Cult of the comet. Temple of the deified Julius. At the back of the temple, a huge image of Caesar was erected, and according to Ovid, a flaming comet was affixed to its forehead to make that soul star that burns forever above the Forum and the gates of Rome. Then Jupiter, the Father, spoke. Take up Caesar's spirit from his murdered corpse and change it into a star, so that the deified Julius may always look down from his high temple on our capital and Forum. He had barely finished when gentle Venus stood in the midst of the Senate and, seen by no one, took up the newly freed spirit of her Caesar from his body, to make that soul star that burns forever, that burns forever, that burns forever above the Forum and the gates of Rome. Caesar's comet was one of only 5 comets known to have had a negative absolute magnitude. It was not periodic, and was possibly the brightest daylight comet in recorded history.